So, like, what made you want to move to Japan in the first place?
Well,
was it your love for anime or games or music?
Well, as I've mentioned before, the only reason that I'm here with you guys right now is because I actually live in the underworld, right?
Right.
The other side of
Australia.
Japan.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm also from the underworld.
You mean the down under?
The down under. That's right.
The down underworld.
I'm sorry, that was a terrible fucking
No, it's
Now we have to get an Australian VTuber.
Okay, so
Sure.
Continue.
Yeah, it's okay. I live on the flip side.
Yeah.
Basically, I live on the flip side. So basically, the main reason that I wanted to be in this general area, I guess, was just because I love Japanese music, and I have a bunch of, I guess, nakama, I suppose, that I want to be close to, right?
We are Nakama.
We are
Yeah.
Nakama.
Yeah. and hang out with and make music together, and just do fun stuff. And I couldn't do that where I was before.
Right.
And now that I'm able to, everything is so much better, and I instantly feel so much better about existence, and it's great. And I hope that I can continue chasing my dreams here. Because when I first arrived, it's like everything that could go wrong went wrong, and I was in a terrible place when I first came.
Did you get like the culture shock of moving here and everything like that?
Yeah, definitely, and not knowing any Japanese at all, etc., and having to figure out everything on my own, having no souls, no money. Nothing.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any friends here or anything either?
I did from the internet, but I was not located in a place where I could hang out with them,
Okay,
I guess.
okay.
So yeah, it was just not great.
And we had a hard enough time moving here when we, one, know each other, and two, have an agency helping us, so I can't imagine how it was for you.
Yeah, it was something else. But I look at it this way. Every single day, I get a little bit closer to being at the exact place that I want to be, that I thought of like 3 years ago when I set out to do all this.
That's awesome.
And, that's progress, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because nothing sucks more than, working towards something and then 3 years passes and you're like, oh, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I mean, like, I've heard your Japanese in your streams.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's definitely fine. Like you
Decent
definitely
enough.
sound like. Well, no, I mean, like,
Definitely
it's
super.
perfectly
No, it's
adequate.
okay. Super gaijin.
I'm not saying you're like,
Super
like
gaijin.
super fluent or anything,
No,
but like it
no,
is
no, but-
definitely more than sufficient enough to like get by here, right? Like,
Yeah,
better than
to
me.
get by,
yeah,
right?
it's much better
I
than
can
these
get
two.
by.
Let's just say that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
good to know.
You don't suck
Thanks.
like us, Callie.
Yeah.
As you said earlier.
Your Japanese good, Callie. Your Japanese
Thank
good.
you. Just
don't
really,
suck.
really.
Just don't suck.
Yeah,
Just
just
don't
don't
suck,
suck.
right?
Just get good. Just get
Just
good.
despite my despite my really like henna ikata, like I really can't say things in a way that is natural.
I feel
just yet.
that like adds like a completely like different type of charm to it though.
Well, that's what Kaze and Kiara were saying when I was saying things strangely when we did our collab. Is they were
Yeah.
laughing so much, and I said, "I'm saying things weird," and they said, "No, it's cute, like it's funny." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Really? You don't think it sounds like fucked up and like it makes you like me less?" They're like, "No."
No, there's like
It's
a weird innocence to it.
Yeah, I think everyone likes like the other accent,
Yeah.
right, where they struggle. It's really endearing because
Yeah.
they're trying so hard.
It's
to
like
communicate.
witnessing like a Japanese person try and speak to you in English, but
Yeah,
you
exactly.
like you hear it and it's clearly broken. But
Yeah.
there's like a weird charm to it, right? Because it's like
we have an entire fucking genre of clips where it's just VTubers trying to speak English
yeah,
words,
right.
That's true. That's a really
And like
good
those
point.
usually do like the best because it's
Yeah.
just so endearing that you look at it and you're like, oh man, they're trying so hard. It's so fucking cute.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
when that dog said "I love you," I felt that.
Yeah.
The
dog.
I felt that.
The
man.
dog.
I mean, right, like that. The whole reason why, like, Korone's English only streams do so fucking well is because it's literally that for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
And it's
that's
just clips
true.
galore, right? So I think like in the opposite way, like I think you're able to achieve that as well when you speak Japanese. Like I'm sure Japanese people are like, oh man, like she's clearly trying.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it's not exactly perfect is like what makes it endearing, right?
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah.
Now that you say
Because
it.
I certainly don't get that when I speak Japanese, right?
Oh yeah.
They don't
Everyone
hear
just
me and they're like,
expects-
oh man, he's trying his best. It's more like, holy shit. Why?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you when you're in Japan, do people assume you're Japanese or
No.
do
Like, it's
You think
weird.
This
Right?
man looks Japanese. What the fuck? This guy looks white. What do you
I look white as fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks white, man. Are you kidding me?
No, it's really weird, right? Because like whenever I'm walking with like say Aki, she's usually the one that gets approached in Japanese.
Yeah.
Because she looks more Asian than I do. And then when the opposite effect happens where she can't speak a word of Japanese and yet I can, is where like the whole like, what happens, right? Because
Right.
like, I remember like when I used to intern at like a tech agency here, like during uni,
Right.
I used to be the guy who had to like invite guests in for like during business meetings for that company. So
Okay.
I was the one on the phone organizing like the time and dates and, you know, being like, okay, I'll come down and, you know, get you from the bottom floor. So, you know, bring you into the office.
Yeah.
And every time I did that, I'm sure they were expecting, you know, a super Japanese dude to come down from the elevator. But the moment the elevator opens and they just see this white dude come out, they're like, you're the guy we just talked to on the phone, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay. This is weird. And it happened every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I never get used to it. Especially, dude, every time someone at the fucking konbini gives me a
That's so
Nihongo
funny.
Jozu.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Do you get Nihongo Jozu'd a lot?
all the time? But what's interesting about that is that when they say it to you, that's how you know it's not Josie.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
Have you
you
ever
know it's
explained what
not.
Nihongo Jozu is on the podcast?
I don't think so. Nihongo Jozu just means you're very good at Japanese.
Yeah.
Right, basically.
Which is basically like what they say to every foreigner who attempts to speak Japanese.
Yeah.
Like if you're actually
Yeah.
fluent in Japanese, they won't go Nihongo Jozu.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's only when it's like you know your Japanese is like broken when you get the Nihongo Jozu.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
it just feels like condescending. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
like, oh, Nihongo Jozu.
I
But
bet
see-
you get it every time as
Yeah,
well.
it's like all I said was arigato. I'm not fucking
Yeah, and they're like,
like
whoa,
there's nothing Jozu about it. Everyone can say it.
Yeah.
Nihongo Jozu from saying arigato.
Yeah. Yep. Just the one word, and they're like, whoa.
That's like if a Japanese person came up to me and said thank you. You don't go, oh, ego Jozu.
Wow, your English is
Say
great.
that, right? It's
Nice
so condescending.
English.
Do you ever,
Yeah.
are you ever ordering in Japanese at a restaurant and then like as you're talking in Japanese like to them they'll be like, oh, here's the English menu, and I'm like, but,
Yeah.
but I was just talking in your language.
And then you keep talking to them in Japanese,
Yeah,
and then they
yeah.
keep talking to you in English.
Ego?
Ego.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But the way that I try to think about it, somebody said it really well before to me when I was kind of like, I wish that they would stop. What someone said to me was, well, it's not about you, it's about them. You know,
Right.
they want to be polite, I guess, and it's
Right,
just
right,
their
right.
sense of like, you know, like
Very kind.
being kind and polite to you, right? It's more about them and not about you. So try and think of it that way, kind of thing. But
I just complain about everything, so
fair enough,
I could have
for
a
sure,
successful
for sure.
heart operation. I'd be like, bloody hell, that took a fucking long time, didn't it? Jesus Christ.
The worst though.
I'm sorry.
The worst though than like a Nihongo Jozu is like when I get this all the fucking time because like they always ask Nihongo daijoubu?
oh,
Like,
right.
can
Is
you
it
speak
okay?
Japanese, right?
Like-
and of course I say like, yeah, Nihongo daijoubu.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. English menu is here.
In all
Like, why the
Katakana
fuck
English.
did you ask me that question?
It's never gonna matter.